Topic: finding a business to buy with little cash. You don't need a pile of money to buy a business. Now, I know that sounds like a late night infomercial, but hear me out. There are real businesses, profitable businesses that change hands every year, where the buyer brings skills and a plan rather than a suitcase full of cash. If you've got the ability to run a business, the money part is less of a barrier than you might think. Let me explain why. About half of all small businesses fail within 5 years. The ones that survive often reach a point where the founder is tired, the market has shifted, or both. Running a small business is relentless. What was profitable 3 years ago is less profitable today because competitors catch up, costs went up, or the product needs an overhaul the owner doesn't have the energy to make. There are over 36 million small businesses in the United States, and an estimated 15 to 20% of them are for sale at any given time. That's millions of businesses on the market. But here's the thing most people don't realize. The majority of listed businesses don't sell. Somewhere between 70 and 80% of businesses listed for sale never close a deal. And for Main Street businesses, let's say under $1 million in revenue, fewer than 1 in 5 ever find a buyer. That gap between for sale and sold is where opportunity lives. Business owners sell for a handful of reasons, and most of them have nothing to do with the business being bad. Sometimes the owner's just done. They built something from scratch, ran it for 15 or 20 years, and they're ready to move on. Sometimes the market changes, and the owner doesn't want to make the investment, either in time or learning or maybe new equipment, to keep up. There are also the personal triggers: death, disability, divorce, just the desire to retire. If the owner didn't set up a buy-sell agreement or a succession plan, and most small businesses owners haven't, then the business has to be sold, often under pressure. A motivated seller with no succession plan and a business that's been declining is not looking for top dollar. They're looking for someone who can take over the business, keep it alive, and pay them a purchase price. That someone doesn't need cash. They need capability. Here's where it gets interesting. Most small businesses were built by their current owner, and founders come in two flavors: the ones who learned to delegate and the ones who did not. The delegators built a team. Their employees know the product, know the customers, and can run day to day without the owner in the room. Now, these businesses sell more easily and at higher value because the buyer is getting a functioning business operation. Now, the non-delegators, the micromanagers, build something that depends entirely on them. They are the business, and when they try to sell, prospective buyers take one look and say, "I'm not buying a business, I'm buying a job." No one wants to pay full price for a company that falls apart the moment the founder walks out the door. So what happens? Well, the price comes down, way down, and if you're someone who can step in and fill that void, who can manage people, build systems, and grow the operation, you're bringing something more valuable than cash. You're bringing the thing that the business actually needs to survive. And for the seller, if the business survives, the seller can get paid their purchase price. A lot of businesses sit on the market for months or years because they were priced incorrectly. The valuation didn't account for the founder being the linchpin of the operation. It didn't discount for the 20-year-old equipment, the accounting that's done on napkins, or the workforce that's aging out. The seller and their broker put up a number based on revenue, and the market, in essence, said no. The longer a business sits unsold, the more flexible the seller becomes. After a year on the market with no serious offers, the conversation changes from "here's my price" to "what can you bring to the table?" And that's when terms like seller financing, earnouts, and equity arrangements start replacing the expectation of cash at closing. The best way to find these opportunities is through a business broker. You can stumble into a deal on your own, but brokers have the inventory. They know which businesses have been sitting, which sellers are getting desperate, and which deals need a creative structure to get done. And here's what most people don't think about when they approach brokers. Brokers make nothing unless the deal closes. A broker with a listing that's been collecting dust for 18 months is not going to grill you about your financing before making an introduction. They want a buyer in the room, any buyer, and that works in your favor. Brokers also provide a buffer between you and the seller, which matters when the negotiation gets into uncomfortable territory. Well, like explaining why the business isn't worth what the seller thinks it is. Family businesses are a special case. Most sophisticated buyers avoid them because the dynamics are messy, and they're right, they usually are. But that's why there's less competitions. Now, there's three situations you see with a family business. First, there's the family that wants to keep running it and has the family members to do it. There isn't really an opportunity there. Second, the founder is stepping down and realizes no one in the family can take over. And third, there's a situation where no one in the family wants or is able to continue the business. Now, in these situations, the third category is your best opportunity. The business needs a new owner, and the family knows it. The key question is whether the person selling has the complete authority to make the deal without getting approval from every cousin and in-law with an opinion. If one person controls the situation, you can negotiate. If it's a committee, stay away. The point of all this is simple. When you buy a business with little or no cash, you're not getting a gift. You're taking on risk that other buyers will not touch. The business might depend on a departing founder. The equipment might need replacing. The books might be a mess. Other buyers see those problems and move on. You should see them as leverage. If you have the skills to manage people, fix processes, and grow revenue, those problems are exactly what gets you in the door without writing a check. The seller needs someone who can keep the business running. You need a business you can afford to buy. That's a deal that can work for both. You have to know where to look and what to look for. My name is Rick Rebusel. I'm Principal Consultant of Business Transition Consulting. I appreciate your attention.